Great. Okay. Welcome, everyone. We've got a nice little crowd here. And I know a few more people might be trickling in as we go along because not everyone here is exactly on time. But because we have 30 minutes, I do want to get us started pretty quickly. And to begin, I'd like everyone to take a moment, close your eyes. Take a nice big inhale. As you exhale, let go of the outside world. Inhale. Exhale, bring yourself into the room, the space you're in. Inhale. Exhale, bring yourself into your body. And without thinking too hard, think about something that you've accomplished in the last week, maybe the last 24 hours. And it can be small, like just shoveling your walkway. And I want you to take a moment to feel how you felt after you accomplished it, after you finished the task. And think about what went into that becoming a success, the time that it took, the resources that you have, the luck, the people, the knowledge you have, the skills that you have. And just take a moment to appreciate those strengths. Because it isn't just one thing that helps us. It's a lot of different things. And when you're ready, I'll have you just gently open your eyes. And welcome to Micro Habits Talking Exercise. My name is Kate Ham, and I have been in the fitness industry for over 15 years. I used to run a wellness retreat center out in California, and I've helped a lot of people accomplish goals. The nice thing about working at a retreat center is I got to help create change in an environment that's really new. And we'll talk about some of those elements as we go along. So if you do have questions, you can type it in the chat. I probably won't address it until the end, but definitely feel free to, while you're thinking about something, put it in. If you have a resource or something, it's always great to have that. So we are talking about micro habits today. And before I fully get into habits, I want to talk about goals. But what is even really the point of the micro habits? So most of us, we just had the new year about a month and a half ago, and we tend to start the new year with really great intentions. And usually by the second Friday, most people have quit. They've given up already. It's actually nicknamed Quitter's Day, which is really sad that we have that. And for me, I look at all of you here, and you're, I think, within the 8%. Even if you haven't accomplished your goals, you want to work towards that. You're here to make a difference. And any day can really be a day that you can begin. Sometimes it's helpful to start something with the beginning of the week or the beginning of the month. Today is a full moon, so full moon is also a good reason to maybe start making changes. And typically, most of us tend to stop doing whatever our goals are because we end up being overconfident. We have a sense of false hope. We tend to be over ambitious, unrealistic with our goals. Like, I'm going to lose 40 pounds by tomorrow. That's literally impossible. There's no way I could do that unless I chopped off a leg, which that's not a good way to go about doing anything. Sometimes our goals are really vague, like again, I'm going to lose 40 pounds. Like, okay, but what does that mean? Like, what am I going to do? So we need to think about goals a little differently. And one of my favorite ways, if we're talking about goals, I skipped ahead, is to start with our why. And, yes, maybe our goal is to lose 20 pounds. And that's a nice goal, but sometimes it's really why do we want to lose 20 pounds? Is it because you want to fit into your jeans again? Is it because you want to be healthier? You want to lower your blood pressure? You want to be stronger? You want to get off medication that you have? You want to just make sure that you're reducing your risk of chronic diseases. My sister-in-law, her mom had breast cancer, and one of the main reasons why she exercises is to help reduce her risk of breast cancer. It's not an end-all be-all, but it helps. Exercise can help improve our mood. It reduces stress. It can improve our sleep. It can help us live longer. So I just taught a class where I had a student who was 95. If anyone can come in and continue moving, continuing exercise, it's going to be wonderful. And we can't really just have a very specific, by having a reason, by having that element of why am I doing this? Am I doing this for somebody? Am I doing this for myself? That is a good way for us to really reframe and think about what we're doing to help create longevity, to help not be the 92% that give up, to be part of that 8% that continue. And it gives us that drive. We all need to have that one thing. And sometimes the elements, like if I'm focusing on just getting stronger or being able to run a half marathon, I might lose 20 pounds, but that 20 pounds isn't really the why I'm doing it. The why I'm doing it is so I can accomplish something. And when we tend to start with our goals with that greater depth, that frequently is a good reason. Now, my grandfather quit smoking largely because my cousin was born, and he wanted to be there for her and for her life. And he had been smoking, I don't know, since he was like a teenager. So from a teenager to his 50s. And finally he quit. So whatever it might be that motivates you, it's going to help you accomplish it. So if you think about whatever it is and kind of dive down to it a little bit more and to really get into a deeper sense of purpose with your goal, it's going to be easier to build and change those habits. Now, once you have an idea of what your why is, what you want to achieve, what you want to achieve and the why, then we need to kind of rate the level of importance of it and thinking about reframing our goal, helping us with our commitment. If we are signing up for, I've had a student who kept signing up for one of my classes and she never showed up. She had the commitment to take that first step, but she didn't have that follow through. And there is that element of we need that follow through to help us get there. So when we think about what we want to accomplish, why do I want to take those steps? Who am I doing it for? And rating them on a scale of 1 to 10. So that way, again, that sense of why becomes magnified in our brain. We're recommitting, making ourselves even more accomplished. And ultimately, we do all want you to accomplish what you want. We can build a sense of urgency as part of it too. And there is that element of why I had us at the beginning think about something that we accomplished and how we felt. I'm sure it felt really good. And you want to be able to feel that on a regular basis and taking those steps to help you feel yeah, I did it. There's nothing like really accomplishing one of your goals, whatever it may be in life. I ran a marathon and it was incredible. I will never do another one ever again. But the work, the dedication, crossing that finish line really made it worth it for that moment. And it's still an amazing experience. So it also helps us to think a little bit about what will happen if we don't do it. Yes, okay, so it doesn't, my life isn't going to change if I don't lose 40 pounds or 20 pounds or whatever it'll be. But, if I don't, for me, exercise or have something that I'm working towards, then, I don't feel complete as a person. And I need that in my life. It's hard for me not to exercise. And I know I'm maybe fortunate. Not everyone has that. So when we think about the level of importance and ranking, like, okay, yes, I want to do this for this reason, and this is why I think it's important, it creates more thought into what we want to accomplish, to our goals. And it really commits us, dedicates us to a point where it's like, it becomes a priority. We don't take time in our lives, like time, there's 24 hours in a day. We have a lot of things and pressure on top of us: work, school, family, life, cleaning the house, whatever it may be. If we are going to add something into it, it needs to be worth it. So make it worth it to you. Make that commitment to yourself. And once you have that commitment, that beginning of a drive, then we can start looking at a goal. And you probably have heard this before, a SMART goal. I always like to start with why, because I think, yes, you can have a goal, you can make it specific, you can make it measurable, you can make it achievable, you can make it realistic, you can make it timed. But even if you have that all written out, if you don't have that sense of purpose, then doesn't do as much. And you probably have seen this plenty of times, being very clear on what you want. And when I'm thinking of specific, I'm thinking about incorporating my why as part of that. And I want to make sure that my language that I'm using is positive. It's not like, don't eat fast food. It's, I make healthy choices. Things like that, because that switches how we focus on our mind. We tend to always naturally go to the negative when we want to look towards the positive. We want some sort of measurability, whatever that may be. I exercise 3 times a day. And so you can actually mark off how many days you've done. You have like a specific time frame, like I'm going to run an 8-minute mile, whatever it may be, something that is measurable and also something achievable. I'm not going to be able to run a 4-minute mile. I'm not going to be able to deadlift 800 pounds. It has to be something that you actually think that you can do. And one of the things that I also like to do in the sense of achievability is to really make a list of everything that I think I can accomplish and break it down into small pieces. So I'm not just looking at the grand spectrum, like I'm going to lose, I sometimes just go to I'm going to lose 20 pounds because I think that's a goal that I hear a lot, or I want to lose X number of weight. Then it's like, I'm going to lose 1 pound every 2 weeks. And that might become the goal, and thinking about something smaller, something that I can focus on. And when you have different elements of how you think you can achieve it, then you can look at, where do I think I can start first? Where can I rank those levels of achievability? Like, how can I fit some of this stuff in my life, which comes into the building habits in a moment. And again, it has to be realistic. Sometimes I think the achievability and the realistic are similar. Again, I can't lift 100 pounds. I can't lift 800 pounds. You have to really, truly believe what you can do. And there has to be ideally an end date of like, by the end of a year, I'm going to be doing this. And like, I have a 10K that I'm signed up for in June. So I have a specific goal for things that I want to work on, with that date being the end date. Maybe it's a wedding. There's some things that you're looking for. And once you have that, you write in that very specific, detailed goal, like on, for me, like on June 14th this year, I will be running a 10K, and I want to try to do it under 55 minutes. I think my peak time is like 57 minutes. So, 2-minute goal, not that far off. Then I will have smaller goals as I go along. And so once I have this specific goal, I have a list of what I think I can do to actually accomplish that goal. And I kind of have an idea of like, okay, this seems the most appealing. Then I can start creating a plan. And action is always better than inaction. Once I have the goal, just taking one small step on a regular basis will create more change and will help me get there. Sometimes we get too big when we need to get small, hence the micro. So why do people tend to quit? They don't have enough time. Unrealistic expectations, lack of motivation. It's not fun. It's boring. It's uncomfortable. Exercise environment, lack of support. These are all reasons why we may not be able to achieve something. And let's be honest, they're all can be very valid reasons. No time. I mean, schedules are tough now. But if we think, we don't have to think about like, I'm going to sign up for an hour-and-a-half yoga class, which I think years ago, it used to be all you'd find was like an hour-and-a-half yoga classes. Now you can find 30-minute yoga classes. And there are a ton of classes on Point 32 that are 30 minutes for strength, for yoga, for Zumba, or anything else. 30 minutes sounds a lot more accomplishable than 90 minutes. Maybe you want to think about even smaller than that. Like when you're watching TV and there are commercials, you're going to do squats. You're going to march in place. Maybe you're going to set a timer, and every hour, you're going to get up and walk around your office for a moment, for however long it takes. And you continue that. It helps for you to put your goal or your task on the calendar and can have it consistent. You can set it up and have it repeat. Like I'm going to run at this time on Mondays at this time, Tuesdays at this time, Fridays at this time, and it just repeats. So that way it's always there. And that way, when I look at my calendar and I'm trying to schedule something in, it's already blocked off. And maybe you find out you work out better in the morning, you work out better in the evening, you work out better in the afternoon. Feel free to play around a little bit, see what works. The element of unrealistic expectations, this is why we have the SMART goals, the re-looking at things. And if you're not being successful, you have to go back into the achievability, the realistic. The lack of motivation. For me, you're here. This means you are motivated. So take that element. This is where the drive comes in, the why. How can you remind yourself of the why? Do you take a picture of your child and put it on your gym bag? Do you take an affirmation and put it on your poster, on your mirror in your bathroom, so when you brush your teeth, you see it all the time? Do you have little affirmations you put all over the house? What is something that you can do to continue? And also, just doing some of the steps will help. We'll get into that in a moment. And, sometimes with the lack of motivation, change can be hard. It takes time, especially at the beginning of an exercise journey. I watched a video recently on social media where this guy was like, I made a promise that I would start working out. And he's like, it's been a month and I weigh the exact same amount now that I did before. But sometimes we don't see the changes that are happening. We're gaining muscle. So even though our weight may stay the same, our body composition is changing. And sometimes the focus can't be on that, but the fact that we're building habits, we're creating changes, we're focusing on improving ourselves. And the other elements of exercise. Like, I know one of the main reasons that I enjoy taking yoga is because I feel better. It's as a person, not just physically. And if things aren't fun or boring, which honestly, with all the snow that we have in New England right now, I've been running inside on a treadmill and I hate it. It's my least favorite thing in the world. But, I put on my audiobook and I just kind of go and I deal with it. Sometimes we have to think about how can we add some fun? Do we need to make a game out of it? Like, I'm going to try to go faster for 20 seconds. I'm going to, pick out something that I notice in the gym. Do we want to walk with a friend, work out with a friend, try different activities? It's not just about dance or Pilates or running. There's so many different movement modalities out there. You can find one that you like. Try different instructors, try different music, put on a TV show. If things are not comfortable, sometimes, we have to adjust and try to improve ourselves or take some time away or adapt, where we have to focus on endurance over intensity, really giving ourselves time to warm up and warm down, trying different exercise types. Like, if your knees are bothering you, water, aqua aerobics is a great element. And one big element, exercise environment can be good if we're at home. I'm in a place right now where I'm looking around and I have tasks that I am putting off. And that can sometimes be like, I'm focused on those and not what my goal is. So thinking about what we're doing, going outside, and that's one of the reasons why I love running outside, is I'm in an environment that feels great and beautiful. Lack of support. Sometimes the people around us, they don't want us to change. They don't want us to lose weight. They don't want us to be eating healthier. Your parents, your husband, they may have their comfort foods that they've been doing for a long time. And by us saying, hey, I don't want to eat that anymore, I want to do this, they feel attacked. And that can be hard. The great thing about some group exercise classes and why I enjoy teaching them is the community that we have. And I'm going to show you a quick picture. This is one that I love. And why is my thing not going? Aha, there we go. So this image may not look like much. On the left, we have Michael Phelps, and on the right is a Serbian swimmer. And this is the 2008 Olympic 100-meter butterfly final. Michael Phelps won by 0.01 seconds. That is faster than we can blink. So thinking about small changes can be crucial, because if Michael Phelps won his gold medal in less time than it takes us to blink, then anything small that we can do can make a change. So let's get into thinking about habits. Habits are behaviors that we do on a regular basis, and we have a ton of habits. We wake up in the morning, we hit snooze a few times, we get out of bed, go to the bathroom, brush our teeth, do our hair, get dressed, make coffee, feed the cat and dog, go to work. We even put on our right shoe before our left shoe, or vice versa, all the time. Habits are great because our brain doesn't have to think hard about what we're doing. Our brain loves habits because it conserves energy. When we start thinking about putting exercise in our habit loop, that helps us tremendously. And this is a habit loop. We have our cue, we have our routine, we get some kind of reward, and life continues on. We want to incorporate exercise there. So some cues that are out there, and if we're thinking about building habits, we have to start thinking about these. We have times, we always do things at the exact same time. We have location. Like I said, When we are at home, we get cues all the time. It's why sometimes smokers can quit smoking while they're away. And as soon as they get home, those same places are always there and they're always going back to it. Preceding event, we always do something after something else. An emotional state, how we feel, can actually be a cue. Who eats ice cream after they've been stressed out? It's an emotional cue. You go for the chocolate. Other people can also be cues, positive or negative. So if you kind of look at your day and think about when you might be able to build in some habits, when you might be able to do exercise, you might want to think about some of these elements, the time, location, events, emotional states, as we're trying to build exercise into it. And sometimes like actually kind of writing down like almost a recipe of your day, you can then start to tie these in. And one of the reasons why I suggest breaking down your achievability steps is because you can start looking at these and start looking at small elements and trying to build in from there. So if you want to build a good habit, you have to make it obvious. Pack up your exercise bag the night before, put it by the door so that way you're going to grab it on your way out. You have to make it attractive. You walk to go get ice cream, you walk with a friend, you combine something that you need to do with something you want to do. You want to make it easy for yourselves. Small steps. Just focus on 2 minutes. Focus on less days. Sometimes the goal is not, if you're building a habit, the goal is to grab your gym bag, pack your gym bag the night before, have it at the door so you can grab it on your way out. After work, you just drive to the gym, you swipe your card, you go to the bathroom, you leave. Then, you start, okay, I'm going to go to the gym, change in my clothes, do 2 minutes, and then leave. And then you keep building up from there. Because then you just start automatically, you grab your gym bag, you go to the gym, put on your shoes, you go. Or in the morning, you wake up, you put on your exercise clothes, you brush your teeth, and that's your part of your cue. Which shoes you have helps you get triggered into following through the other steps. You also want to make it satisfying. What do you get out of it? Fun, feeling good. Think about the why element. And if you want to try to break a bad habit, you want to make it invisible, make it unattractive, make it difficult, make it unsatisfying. So, you're hiding the temptations from yourself. You're hiding the candy. You are buying the kind of brand that you don't like. And it's one great thing to do is I will do whatever at X time in this location. So we're taking kind of that SMART goal, putting it into a cue form or into a behavior form and setting that up. So if you have your SMART goal and you're making it even more in terms of what the actions are, that's going to help us. So then we can get into the exercise into our routine. So we can keep adding and building into it. And even if we set back, because honestly, we all have days that we're not going to accomplish things. We need to give ourselves grace, come back to our why, reevaluate what we're doing, why we're doing it. Maybe also look back at what can I do differently? Trying to stick to our schedule as best as we can and plan for chaos. The more we can plan for when things don't go right, the better it will be. I forgot my gym bag. Just go to the gym anyways, because that's the habit. Maybe you just swipe the card, you go in and you leave. It's doing whatever you can. So some of the big things, and I know 30 minutes, where the hell, it went really quick. Going into starting with your why, setting your priorities, creating your SMART goal, looking for cues, starting with small steps, planning for setbacks, and adjusting as needed can help us. And really finding ways that you can just incorporate small little changes. Like I said, just doing a minute of squats after you've brushed your teeth, that will help you get there. Doing some walking around the block a few times a day, and really trying to plan for what we know might go wrong. We tend to know ourselves fairly well, and we know when we are likely to stop following through. So try to plan ahead for those. Have an action that you can still do anyways. All right. And again, one small change can be the difference of accomplishing your goal or a gold medal. It doesn't have to be the entire world. Just think small.